So did a pretty good job on this. Got it pretty clean. I still need to do the underside. In fact, that's the last of the big pieces I have to do paint removal on, is the underside. And hello. So I still have little nuances I gotta clean out, but I'm kind of gathering all the big pieces up right now. I need to do some welding on this piece. Definitely some dent removal on some of these pieces. And finally, after a long freaking time, got this thing finished. I ended up doing a Airplane Ultra paint removal on this because the paint was just super hardcore. I did the citrus first, that kind of got half of it. Then I did the paint, also with the power washer. After that, got off most of it, and then I had to sandblast the rest of it off, and I even grinded a little bit, but I sandblasted the rest of it off and sandblasted the whole back, and now it is looking really good. I got one of these ribs I got to bend out a little bit, but besides that, it's ready to go. All these parts I did phosphorus earlier. I also did one last phosphorus on the pan, and that was just to the only way to get rid of phosphorus is to, well, you could grind it off, but obviously that would be random. I wouldn't know what. So you put phosphorus on, let it sit a few minutes, kind of tooth into everything, and then rinse it off and dry it as fast as possible. And now you got a clean slate ready to go. Because if you leave the phosphorus on there, the epoxy paint will not stick. So, and that is straight from the paint company. Never use phosphorus because your paint will not stick to it. So, so you really have to know how to do your cleaning correctly. So if you noticed, when I did all these parts, I kind of did the phosphorus, let it kind of do its thing. Then I kind of, worked in the phosphorus and then rinsed it and instantly dried them by hand. And so they're looking pretty good. Now, all these pieces are pretty good. These pieces were the worst. And you could see they're a little yellow, which to me looks a little phosphory. So I'm probably going to sand that all off. And yeah, I'm going to have to just sand that all off. You do the best you can. But stuff like this, just these two, I'm going to epoxy. I'm not going to put another coat on it, and I don't want to add coats that are going to cause track fitment issues and stuff like that, so I'm just going to do a seal coat, 2 epoxies, call it a day. Rest of these, I believe we are going orange with these. I haven't made the final rubber stamp of approval on that, but I believe we are. So in that case, we will do epoxy. Those we could just spray. Well, I don't know. We might do some build primer on these, kind of make them really look nice, get them nice sanded. This, even though I got to do dent removal and stuff, and I got corners like this I got to really clean up. I do not know yet, and I'm assuming we will because these don't look that great. I mean, they're great, but they're not that great. Is it going to be fully upholstered? If so, then I don't have to go crazy on this. However, I do want it to be done properly. So it also allows me to learn how to do dent removal. So I'm going to actually do a little bit of body work on these, just to get me practiced into it, get things figured out. And if I can't get some of the dents out, I could put a little Bondo in there. A little filler. So I don't know. We will see. I need to do welding on that, which hopefully will happen tonight. And I'm trying to just kind of some of this stuff is going epoxy build primer and then stopping. Some of this stuff could go all the way to color, and I kind of need to map out what's what. The other thing is these parts I could hang. That I could hang. This stuff, we're starting to get so big that I'm not sure how I'm going to approach painting them, because I don't have, you know, besides my 2 ladders, I don't have a 2 nice strong posts that are wind resistant that I could hang this big stuff in like I would be if I was in a booth. So we'll see. I mean, I could spray them in here, which would be the ultimate, but then I got to deal with all this, and you know, I don't know. Rather just go outside and shoot. So I might try to figure out a way to shoot on a table and you know, get 50% and then let it dry, flip it over, do 50%. Not sure. These are not, you know, super important parts, but the grill is, and the handle is. That is very important, but still it's kind of behind the scenes, so we'll see. We'll figure it out. But these I could hang. These need to go to build primer. The bench, I'm going to epoxy the whole thing, and I'm trying to figure out how to do this because obviously I can't fly it. I think I'm going to have it as it sits and epoxy the whole top half the best I can. Let it dry, maybe flip it over, epoxy the whole thing. This is everything except the bottom. I'm not doing the legs yet. And then get that all dry, and then that's sealed, good to go, not doing anything else with that. Then I could flip it over, throw it on the ground like it is, upside down, and work on the legs, and then it's its own stand, and I could spray the colors that I need to spray. Probably, you know, I need to get orange onto those areas. So it's going to be white, and then there's going to be orange stripes going through everything as I try to get orange onto there. And, you know, how do I get orange onto there? Maybe I throw a box, and then I flip this like upside down to where, I don't know, it's like a foot off the ground, and I could still get my gun underneath to spray that. I don't know. These are the trials and tribulations that I have to deal with. So, yeah, so it's come together. I'm just trying to keep the motion going. It's a little overwhelming at this moment because I got so much stuff and so many different processes. Like, you know, this one's going down the build primer path. This one's not going. I got this whole list of stuff, and then I got to like start naming out the parts of which one's getting the full treatment, which one's not. And this stuff, we're past our window, so this needs to be sanded, re-epoxied, and then build primer and all that stuff. So I'll kind of try to do that all at the same time, but at least they're sealed, so that's good. But they're past their chemical window, so need to re-epoxy them. So this is the back of the doghouse, and this used to be caved in, and my fabrication guy knocked most of it out. It's still a little lumpy. I did a little bit more to it. Over here I had 2 major dents that were small though, but you know, pretty deep, and I was able to get it like 70-85% of it out, so which is better than 0% out. So I'm happy about that. And so this one needs a little bit of filler, and we're going to do that. We're going to grind this out a little bit, make sure it's all clean, and then skim this over a little bit and get this one ready to go. I'm actually surprised I kind of caught the second wind and just kept going, so that's good because I got the bottom of the bench taken care of. I got all these side panels taken care of. Just need to bounder this, and then the only last thing I need to do is the underside. I'll show you this. I'm actually shocked how clean this is. This came out really nice, but I scraped a little bit off because that's all I could really kind of get to. The rest of it, since the ribs are high, I could only take the edge of the rib off, and I kind of just said, well, that's kind of pointless. So I don't know if I'm going to do paint remover or what, but I'm going to do something. We'll figure it out, because small angle grinders would take forever. But we'll see. See what we figure out in this. So I was trying to figure out the jigsaw puzzle of all the different things, because some is going to orange, someone's going to black, some of it's going to build primer first, some of it's not, it's going straight to paint. Some needs filler, you know, all these different things. And I was like, man, I could knock a lot of this out, you know, if I could just get it in the right order and this and that. And then I'm like, you know what? Or we could just do one thing and call it a day and relax. I'm going to just do a few things, basically. I'm going to get epoxy on this whole bench seat, except for the legs. And then, in the meantime, while that's drying and stuff like that, I'll sand this stuff, sand that, got that fixed, no hole anymore. And get this prepped up, maybe a little more filler. I might need more filler here. This might be good enough, I'm not sure. And that's it. Call it a day. Like, it's getting too much. And so I'm glad I got almost everything prepared, ready to go. But the problem I'm having is, you know, certain things I can't hang, certain things I can hang. Well, if I'm not hanging them, I might shoot them out front. If I am hanging them, I'm shooting them out back. And so it's just too much. There's too much going on. And again, I got this elephant in the room that I'm trying to protect and going back and forth. And so far I've been having failing cups, and I don't want to be like going back and forth and failing cup and splatter on the car. And, you know, so I think I got the cup thing figured out now, but we'll see. So yeah, we're going to just take it easy. The guy who did my gas tank, I also dropped off my frames, and had these redone and refabricated, and 2 rivets in here on 2 of these because they were just jacked up. They were rusted shut. So he did that, so that's awesome. And we're looking pretty good. So looking pretty good. And then in a few days, my upholstery guy is coming over, and we're going to discuss the bench seat, the doghouse, and the front seats, and kind of figure out what's going on, because what I don't want to do is waste my time, you know, painting something, and then we go in a whole different direction. So I don't want to do that. Even though this is probably could be painted any color, because it will probably be covered in some kind of leather or something like that. But what I'm thinking I could do is I could either do the whole thing orange, or I could do the bottom pieces black. Again, they'll be covered anyways. And then this part orange, or that's going to be covered too. And so it doesn't matter. And so, you know, I would love to have it as is, you know, like painted and beautiful and all that, because it is the, as far as I'm concerned, the eyepiece of the whole vehicle. And at the same time, it's the more insulation we could get on top of that thing, the less noise in the vehicle. For me, that's a huge issue. So trying to figure out what that looks like now. If we could wrap this thing to where it looks exactly like that, like all the grooves and all that stuff, which I know we can, but then we're not really getting any more insulation on it. We're just gluing some fabric on top of it. So, which, you know, everything helps. But so I don't know. I got a lot of things kind of going through my head, and it's there's too much going through my head right now. It's just, I've done a good job of getting everything kind of prepared, but I'm overwhelmed at this point. So, and I want this space back. So I need to keep pushing forward. But yeah, so we're just going to tackle one thing and another side thing while that's processing, and call it a day, and then we'll see where it goes. And then I'll try to figure out how I'm going to paint all this bigger stuff. So one of the things I was thinking about as I was cleaning this off was, I spent 4 years trying to find one of these, and I could only come up with what I believe to be the same exact bench seat before and after, restored in a van. And I was like, well, that's interesting, because no one's probably ever seen this bench seat taken apart, restored, or whatever. And so I figured I'd do some close-ups here, because these things are super rare at this point. So it's a pretty unique system. The way it kind of flexes with the clips. Clips hold everything together, pop it together. I got most of everything off of this thing. I mean, some of these little wires still have a little bit of stuff on them, but a little bit down there. But for the most part, this thing is good. Got all the poles really good. So what I'm going to do is pretty much epoxy only from here up, and then here down will be epoxy and my color of choice, which I believe is going to be orange to match the vehicle. And so today we are going to try to spray everything except the arms, and I think I'm going to cover those up a little bit. But besides that, outside poles will just be white. And yeah, so this is what it looks like. So I'm waiting for another induction period. I didn't calculate how much product I was going to need correctly. So I'm waiting for another induction period. I got basically 3/4 of one coat on and ran out of paint. So, and there seems to be a spider that wants to get glued to the bench seat, so his wish will be granted. So I mixed up a big cup. I'm finally getting the cup system down. Haven't had any issues since. We are waiting on that, and then we are going to do a paint remover on this, and then for today we're going to call it, because we've been doing 3 days in a row, and you can tell by my voice like I'm wiped out. The heat just really takes it out of you. So we're just kind of waiting. I put a second coat on here, and it's looking pretty good. And I don't know if I showed before or not, but there used to be a hole right there, and you can't even tell there was anything there. That's how well this guy welded it up. So really happy about that. So once I get this dent figured out, there's a few other dents that I might fill in a little bit, but I kind of forgot actually while I was filling it, but you know, there's a few little dents here, a little dent there. I don't know how crazy I'm gonna go. If I got the filler out and I got some extra, I'll whip it out there. So I also have some nylon wheels that I could get these corners a little bit better, because there's like a rough area that the nylon would get in there better, get that cleaned out. So all in all, it would also get this pretty well. So all in all, we're going pretty good. Last night we welded some parts, and so we got a weld there, and we got some welds down in the corner that filled in because there were some holes. So in fact, that might be, yeah, there we go, it's on this side. So probably clean those up a little bit and ready to go. So yeah, doing good. Just waiting on the time. It's no direct sunlight. It's barely starting to poke through, and oh, it's a reflection. I was like, how's there sunlight coming from this time of the day when it's on the other side of the house? It's a reflection off the truck. But you can see it's already 87 degrees in the garage, which means it's way hotter outside the garage, and it's only 8:50, so yeah. Well, I couldn't really get this sealed. So I got, I don't know, I'm gonna say 60%, maybe 75. But still more to go, and there was no way for me to wrap this and get it sealed on my own. It was too cumbersome. Saran wrap wasn't coming off the reel easy enough, and so it's getting close, but I was hoping to be done with this. It's kind of one of the last major dirty jobs in the sense of a big piece. So we're closing up shop for the day. It's only 10 o'clock, but it's already 90 in the garage, and I'm spent. So got nice and white. Whole thing is done. Could have gone a little thicker, but I was just going through product. I mean, I understand that it's Swiss cheese that I'm spraying, but I was definitely going through product. I was kind of shocked. But in any case, good enough for rock and roll, basically.